Throughout history, public executions have served as pivotal moments that not only ended lives but also shaped societies. These events, witnessed by crowds or reported extensively, have left indelible marks on the collective memory of nations. From ancient philosophers to royal figures, the reasons behind these executions range from the pursuit of justice to the silencing of dissent and the consolidation of power. Today, we delve into the stories of the most famous public executions, events that shocked the world, ignite public discourse, and in many cases, altered the course of history. As we explore these moments, we aim to understand not just the why and the how, but the profound impact of these events on legal, social, and political realms. These stories are not just about the individuals who faced their final moments in public view, but about the societies that shaped, and were shaped by, these acts. Join us as we journey through time, from ancient Athens to revolutionary France, from the royal courts of England to the battlefields of the American Revolution. Each story is a thread in the fabric of human history, woven together by the common themes of justice, power, and destiny. Prepare to uncover the tales of intrigue, betrayal, and humanity that define these historic moments. This is not just history, this is a reflection on the human condition and the price of power. In the heart of ancient Athens, a city renowned for its pursuit of knowledge and the birthplace of democracy, lived Socrates, a philosopher whose ideas would forever change the course of Western philosophy. Socrates, with his distinctive method of questioning, sought to uncover the deeper truths of life, ethics, and the universe. His approach, now known as the Socratic method, encouraged critical thinking and challenged conventional wisdom. However, in 399 BC, amidst political instability and social unrest, Socrates found himself at odds with the very society he sought to enlighten. Accused of corrupting the youth and impiety towards the gods Athens held dear, his teachings provoked anxiety among the city's elite. His trial, a seminal moment in Athenian history, was not merely a legal proceeding but a clash of ideals. Charged before his peers, Socrates defended his philosophy in his life's work with profound dignity. Despite his compelling defense, the jury of 501 Athenians found him guilty. Sentenced to death, Socrates was presented with several chances to escape, opportunities orchestrated by his devoted followers. Yet, he chose to accept his fate. As he consumed the fatal dose of hemlock, a poison that would slowly paralyze his body, Socrates discussed the immortality of the soul with his students, leaving behind a legacy of intellectual bravery and moral integrity. In his final moments, Socrates exemplified the virtues he preached, showing unyielding commitment to his principles even in the face of death. The execution of Socrates raised profound questions about justice, the role of government in regulating morality, and the limits of free speech. His death marked the end of one life but ignited a philosophical legacy that would resonate through the ages. In the early 15th century, France was embroiled in the brutal Hundred Years' War against England, a conflict that saw the French crown struggling to defend its territory. Amidst this turmoil, a young peasant girl from Domremy rose to become a symbol of French resistance and hope. Her name was Joan of Arc. Joan claimed divine guidance had tasked her with leading France to victory. Her charismatic presence and astonishing military successes lifted the siege of Orleans, turning her into a national heroine. However, her fateful capture in 1430 by Burgundian allies of the English marked the beginning of her downfall. Handed over to English authorities, Joan faced a politically motivated trial for heresy and witchcraft, charges designed to undermine her influence and legitimacy. During her trial in Rouen, Joan defended herself with surprising eloquence and tenacity. Despite her efforts, the court, heavily biased against her, found her guilty. Her conviction was less about her supposed crimes and more about discrediting the cause she stood for. In 1431, at just 19 years old, Joan was sentenced to be burned at the stake. The execution took place in the old market square of Rouen, where she met her end with remarkable courage, inspiring awe even among her enemies. As the flames consumed her, witnesses reported that she called out the name of Jesus, remaining devout and resolute to her last breath. Joan of Arc's execution was intended to extinguish her influence, yet it achieved the opposite. She became a martyr, symbolizing the resilience and spirit of France. Centuries later, her life and legacy continue to inspire and provoke admiration. In the lush yet tumultuous courts of Tudor England, the fate of Anne Boleyn, a woman of charm and intelligence, unfolded dramatically. Her rise and fall are woven into the very fabric of English history, marked by ambition, intrigue, and tragedy. Anne Boleyn caught the eye of Henry VIII, a king desperate for a male heir and willing to upend the religious landscape of England to secure his marital desires. Their union, once catalyst for England's break with the Roman Catholic Church, quickly became a tale of disillusionment and betrayal. By 1536, Anne's failure to produce a male heir and her increasing number of enemies at court sealed her fate. Arrested on charges of treason, adultery, and incest, which many historians believe were largely fabricated, Anne was taken to the Tower of London, a grim precursor to her inevitable demise. Her trial was swift and stacked against her. Despite her eloquence, the jury, comprised of peers and maids beholding to the king, found her guilty. The sentence was ruthless and clear: death by beheading. On the morning of May 19, 1536, Anne Boleyn, once Queen of England, approached her execution with dignity and a composed grace that left onlookers in awe. Her final words affirmed her loyalty to the king and her acceptance of her fate. As the sword swiftly ended her life, the tragedy of Anne Boleyn became a lasting testament to the perilous dance of power and ambition in the Tudor court. Anne Boleyn's execution reverberated through the annals of history, not only as a somber tale of a queen who fell from grace but also as a stark reminder of the volatile nature of Tudor politics. Her legacy, particularly through her daughter, Elizabeth I, would continue to shape the destiny of England for generations. In the mid-17th century, England was torn by civil strife and political upheaval, culminating in the unprecedented trial and execution of a monarch, Charles I. His reign, marked by religious conflicts and power struggles with Parliament, set the stage for a national crisis. Charles I ascended to the throne in 1625 with a firm belief in the divine right of kings, which led him into frequent clashes with a parliament increasingly unwilling to tolerate his autocratic style. These tensions escalated into the English Civil War, pitting the royalists against the parliamentary forces. Despite initial successes, Charles's forces were ultimately defeated, and the king himself was captured. In a bold move that shocked Europe, Parliament put the king on trial for tyranny and high treason, a concept that was revolutionary at the time. The trial, held at the Banqueting House in Whitehall, was a spectacle of intense debate and legal precedent. Charles defended his actions as those of a legitimate sovereign, refusing to acknowledge the authority of the court. Nevertheless, he was found guilty in a verdict that sealed his fate. On January 30, 1649, Charles I was led to a scaffold erected outside the Banqueting House, the very place he commissioned to celebrate the power of monarchy. In his final speech, he expressed a steadfast belief in his divine right to rule and forgave those who had wronged him. With a swift strike, the executioner ended his reign, and Charles I became the first European monarch to be publicly executed. The silence that followed was a profound moment of reflection on the limits of royal authority and the power of parliamentary governance. The execution of Charles I was not just the tragic end of a king but also a turning point in British history. It led to the establishment of the Commonwealth and raised enduring questions about the balance of power between the Crown and Parliament. His death remains a powerful narrative of hubris, revolution, and the relentless pursuit of governance by consent. As we conclude the first part of our journey through the history of public executions, we reflect on the profound impact these events have had on societies and the course of history. Stay tuned for part 2, where we will delve into the stories of other iconic figures whose fates were sealed by public execution. Thank you for watching. If you found these stories enlightening and thought-provoking, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us bring more such historical narratives to light. Together, let's keep exploring shadows of history and uncover the stories that shape our world.